In my last video, I took a look at 3 websites that real business owners sent me to review. But then I got asked to review 3 more websites. So I thought, let's make part 2. If you don't know me, my name is Nathan. I've been a freelance website designer and developer for 12 years. Portfolio in the bio. And without further ado, let's dive in. Okay, this first website is for my friend and mentor, Sean Blanc. Sean Blanc is the creator of the Focus course, and he also runs this, Plan Your Year. Plan Your Year is a guided workbook that helps you review your past year and plan for the current one in a really systematic way. You can check out the website at the link in the description below. This is a really cool program. My wife and I do it every year. It's great. The sole point of this landing page is to convert people to buy the product. So at the top here, Sean does a bunch of things right. Sean has a big hero image. He's got proof of how many happy and focused goal setters since 2018. Below that call to action, he shows you everything that's in the guidebook, the course, the digital planner. He shows you the whole package. You have another call to action right there. And then below that, he's going to show you some social proof. And then Sean is going to tell you his story. So here's what I love about web pages like this. They remind me a lot of direct mail marketing. Remember that? Before the internet, you get these letters in the mail that were basically like these impassioned pleas from founders or marketing departments telling you all about their products, sharing their life stories, telling you why you made a thing. And then at the end of it, you could like send it in, attach your credit card information to it, then they send you a mop. That was what direct mail stuff was like the Columbia thing where you used to be able to buy movies and then they would ship them to you. It's like 5 movies every month. Nobody wanted any of those movies, but once every 3 months, you'd be like, oh man, they sent out a good one. This time it was Braveheart. Yeah, I wanted the Braveheart DVD. Why didn't I sign up for that? And the rest of the time, it's like some kind of straight to DVD schlock. Those direct mail things. I realize it doesn't exactly sound like a good thing because we're talking about Columbia now, and Columbia is a dead business, but this is a cool website. So Sean tells a story about how he and his wife used to do this together and then how he made it available to everybody else. It's a nice little sales pitch. And then this page just keeps on going. It's such a long sales page. And I don't mean that to sound bad because it's not. This is great. I love how long the sales page is. It's probably effective because it's long. So how can Sean make this better? This is a little bit different than how you would normally do things, because normally if you have a website and you run a small business, in order to improve your website, you're going to go to some other agency with some new idea. They're going to tear apart your whole website and throw everything out and start from scratch because your website probably isn't effective to begin with. I've got some strong opinions. Sean sells like a bajillion of these. We already know this site converts. He gets lots of traffic and lots of eyeballs. Sean's design isn't just about being aesthetically pleasing anymore. Once you hit this number of people, it's about converting as many as possible. Conversion has nothing to do with aesthetics. Like Amazon's website is super ugly, but it converts like crazy. And Craigslist? Craigslist is just a bunch of hyperlinks. It was one of the highest converting websites on the internet. So at this point, we're not really talking about the design. The design itself, it's not as important. What's important is whether or not the design converts. And when we're talking about conversion and we're talking about big numbers, now we get to talk about A/B tests. So what's an A/B test? A/B testing is simple. You have version A that gets seen by 50% of people. Then you have version B that gets seen by the other 50% of people. You track what you want to convert and you see which one performs better. The twist is that you only change one thing at a time. So A/B testing only works if you have a massive audience. Like if there's 100 people coming to your website every month, don't do A/B testing. There's no way to know with a sample size of 50 for variant A and 50 for variant B if your change is successful. The numbers just aren't there. But if you have thousands and thousands of visitors every month, well, then you get to do something interesting. So here's an example of an A/B test that I would run if I were Sean. Right now, if I scroll on the website, you'll note that the banner just scrolls away. It's completely out of view. And once I get past a certain point on the website, there is no call to action in sight for some time. I have to keep scrolling for quite a while before I find the next call to action. What I would do is simple. I would make the top banner sticky so that when you scroll, the top banner stays in place. And here's the thing. I don't know if what I suggested is going to work. That's the beauty of an A/B test. In 24 hours, Sean would have a pretty good idea based on, thousands of visitors, whether one converts more than the other. But there's no way for this scale for me to just suggest, hey, do this one thing and it'll fix everything. Because I don't know. I don't even know if there is any room for improvements. That's why we have A/B tests. Now, there's one other thing with A/B tests that's worth mentioning. Don't run 2 at once. If you change two things at the same time, there's no way to track which one of those changes made things better or worse. So you just do one change at a time, and you see how that goes. So if I suggest another change, it would have to be a separate A/B test. You also don't want your A/B tests to be small things. You want them to be relatively large changes because they need to have a measurable impact in either direction. If you make a tiny change, that has a tiny impact. If you make a bigger change, that could have a big impact. So change things on a larger scale. Swap out entire sections, entire chunks of content, entire menus. When you do that, you have some idea of whether or not your A/B test is actually going to be successful. With that in mind, the next thing I would change are the testimonials here. There are only 2 on this website. I want to have more. And I'm actually going to use another one of Sean's websites to prove my point. This is the Focus Course in a Day website. This is the other program that Sean most recently did. Thousands of people signed up for this. We know this page converts really, really well. And once you scroll down on the page, you get to this section with testimonials in it. There's a whole wall of testimonials here. All of these are just screenshots, but there are so many of them. And right below them is a call to action. I would do the same thing here on the Plan Your Year site. I would put in tons of testimonials. They don't have to be screenshots. Text is great. But I would put in tons of testimonials. And below that, I would put in a call to action. And then I would see if that call to action in particular gets any clicks, or if conversion increases specifically after making that change. The third A/B test I'm going to suggest flies completely in the face of everything I just said about not doing 2 things at once. Change everything. And by everything, I'm basically talking about entirely new creative, like a whole new page. I would say just try a new design, try a new aesthetic, try new button shapes, try new button styles, try new copy, change it all out at once. Why would you do that? The biggest reason is to challenge your assumptions about people's taste and your marketing and whether or not it lines up with that. Because sometimes an entirely fresh aesthetic will just work because it's fresh. That's the reason to do it. It's just to challenge the assumption that people are into the entire aesthetic. I'm effectively suggesting running 2 whole websites at once. It sounds insane, but at this scale, everything's insane. Okay, so the second website today is from my friend David. This is Martin's Cleaners, Laundry and Dry Cleaning in Kansas City. This website is so different from Sean's. Sean's target market is huge. It doesn't matter where they live. With David's website, it does matter where people live. His dry cleaning and laundry business is in Kansas City. I'm in Canada. I can't get my clothes to Kansas City. So David's business is what I call hyper-local. There are small local businesses, and then there are small businesses that only attract local customers. Websites like David's are often smaller in scope. That doesn't mean they're bad. He's just trying to get you to bring his clothes to his shop. So on to the website. This website is crazy small. It's just 5 paragraphs of text, including the phone number, and then these images that display the pricing on the website. So David, thank you for sending me this to review. You know what I'm going to say? You need a website. This ain't it. I'm joking, but I'm not joking. But at a practical level, I think I've actually seen way worse than this. Because the website has good copy. Here you'll find outstanding quality and hometown dependability with honesty and care at the core of everything we do. You can trust us to treat your garments as if they were our own and will always go the extra mile for you. I actually really like that. I think that's really nice. But there are also some copy problems. We currently service the Kansas City area. Our storefront is located in Independence. Where? What's the address? How am I supposed to find you? David, you have to include your address. Because if I Google you, and I Google your competitors, and your competitor tells me how to find them, and you don't, I'm going to go to the competitor. I love that you define your business's values right on the homepage. I love that you say that you care about people's clothing. I imagine, for a dry cleaner and a laundry service, that this is a pretty unique value proposition. From my own life experience, I can tell you that absolutely nobody cares less about my clothing than the laundry and dry cleaners down the road. But you really need to include your address here. There's a phone number here, which is nice. And I do love that you list the prices. I think it's great that the prices are listed, but I think your website needs to do more. For example, you have curbside pickup for people's laundry. You could ask if people want to fill out a form, give you their address, and have you pick up their clothes at a predefined time. And they can give you money in advance. Or maybe you could even have people fill out a form that says when they're going to come and drop their clothes off at your shop. And then when you're done with the essentials, which is making sure people have ways to contact you or get to your shop, you can start thinking about things you actually want to do with the website to treat it as a marketing tool. Maybe you want to show the befores and afters of the unfixable. John Wick brought his suit to your laundromat after a big shootout in a brawl, and you fixed it up and you cleaned it and you made it less John Wickified. If the whole point is that you care deeply about people's clothes, get behind the scenes, show people what it's like in your back room, inject your business with humanity, that's the secret. Then you'll have a real website. You have great copy explaining what makes you unique and explaining how much you care. Show it in your marketing assets. It's going to be slow at first, and then you just build up that flywheel and you keep on going. Okay, and the last website for this video comes from my friend Thomas, who owns SWMSS, Southwest Managed Security Services. Thomas, you're going to hate this, but my first suggestion is that you should rename your business because nobody can remember SWMSS. I can't remember it, and I've had to say it 30 times while I make this video because I keep having to do fresh takes because I keep screwing it up. Is it SWMSS? WMSP? SWPM? It's SWMSP. For very obvious reasons, you need a memorable, easy name, like Apple or Dell. But I don't think anybody is going to remember SWMSS. I've done 30 takes, and I can't remember it. Okay, I've made a few IT websites in my time, and the problem is always the same. IT companies are typically run by nerds, and nerds care a lot about specs. And that means every IT website is mostly just a list of specs and services. And the problem with that is that when you run a comparison of different IT companies, all you're comparing is the specs. And when you're just comparing specs, you end up in a race to the bottom. That's not good for business. This looks like a normal IT company's websites. Reliable IT, fortified security, local expertise, and then if I scroll down, the list of services. So from my perspective, if your goal is to get more customers, you need to differentiate yourself from your competitors. How do you do that? It depends on the kind of IT service that you're offering. If you were simplifying IT for your customers and you were making it easier for them to have a one-and-done solution, I would consider changing the color scheme. Instead of making it like a dark background that feels very techy and heavy and IT-like, I would lean into minimalism. I would reduce the number of colors. I would make it just orange and white with some light gray. On the other hand, if you're working with customers who are a little bit more tech savvy and they need somebody who's Ford tough, but the IT equivalent, I might try something different. I would darken this background. I would make the gray darker. I would emphasize the black. I would emphasize orange. I would remove the rounded edges from the icons, and I would kind of make them a little bit chunkier. And I would make the buttons bigger and bolder and give them square edges instead of round rectangular edges. And to me, that would stylistically emphasize and associate you with brands that are like the F-150, all-weather, rugged terrain. Because if you can survive and withstand anything, then you're the right solution for clients who need that kind of rugged durability. So now you've got two options, minimal and clean or rugged and tough. I also love that you have a blog page that you keep updated here. These blog posts are all really recent, which is great. There's one or two every week, but I don't know who this tech update person is. But what I suspect is that these are written by some kind of content farm and just published on your website. If this is from a content farm, my advice would just be to get rid of the content farm and to start publishing your own content. You'll need to come up with a strategy for it, but that will make you look more genuine. And if you look more genuine, particularly in the context of local business competition, you're more likely to get sales, because otherwise people are going to think of you as some kind of scammy looking company that, relies on a content farm. That's bad for business. On the topic of writing your own blog posts, you should probably have some kind of about page where people can get to know you a little bit and meet the people on your team. It doesn't have to be big, just something. The reality of running a local business is that it's all about who you know. And so people have to have a chance to know you. If they get a chance to know your competitor better than you, your competitor will get the sale, because that's how local business works. So you need to have some kind of place where you introduce people to who you are. And that's also why you need to have blog posts authored by you. It lets people feel like they're getting to know you. The other thing I want to point out is that I think your contact page looks fine, but you're making a mistake by making client login the main call to action in the navigation. Right now, client login isn't a big button. If you put the big button in contact, it's going to make that a lot easier for people to see. And that will probably increase conversion. You get bonus points for having your address on your website. It's a low bar, but you've cleared it. Thomas, a few pieces of advice. Pick a theme that you want to go with, something clean and simple, or something tough and rugged. The second is just to make the contact button your primary call to action. Then the third thing, develop a content strategy so people get to know you and your team better, because that's how you're going to compete. You're going to compete with other businesses, not by proving yourself out on spec, but by demonstrating the kind of experience people are going to have working with you is superior to that of your competitors. Thomas, David, Sean, I hope that was helpful for you. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and if you have a website that you'd like me to review in a future video, drop the URL in the comments below and tell me a little bit about what you're trying to accomplish, and I'll see about including that in a future video. Until then, rock on. I'm doing this for the second time because I forgot to hit record on my microphone for the first hour. Ugh. SWMSS, SMW, SS, SWM, SWMSS, SMWP, SMSSW, blah, 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 blah.